Hello, learners. Today we are going to learn about some preposition rules. I've given some example sentences and we are going to see the tricks behind using these prepositions. So let's get started. I work blank Google in, for, or as. We work in a specific field, in an industry, or in a place like a town or a city. We work for a company and sometimes for a person. We work as like holding a job title or a role like a doctor or a teacher, a manager, whatever. Here we have Google, and Google is a company. So I work for Google. She is angry blank you with, at, or about. Here we have the term angry. We are angry with someone. We are angry at a situation, sometimes a thing, and sometimes a person, someone. And we are angry about a specific issue or an event. Here we have you. You is a person, someone. Someone, you, a person. Therefore, she is angry with you. Now, let me add something. I want to tell you that in British English, she is angry with someone is accepted and it's grammatically correct. However, in American English, people tend to use she is angry at you because of some situation or a thing or because of a person. And she is angry about a specified issue that is talked about in details. So, this is the difference. Remember the rules. Let's move to the next question. We have been living in this house blank 2010. For or since. The preposition for talks about the duration of time. For example, 2 months, 10 years, 4 hours. Okay, here the spelling of hours is wrong. Don't make a mess about it. Since. Since talks about point of time, the starting point of time of any given action. So, according to this rule, we have been living in this house blank 2010. 2010 is the exact starting point of time. Therefore, the correct preposition would be we have been living in this house since 2010. And the sentence means that the action is still going on. We still continue to live in this house. The concern of the sentence is that it talks about the starting point. More examples for since would be since January, since July, since 2010. No duration, exact point of time. Now look at this diagram carefully. For talks about the duration and since the point of time, starting point. Now let's move to the next one. The report must be submitted blank Monday by or since. By talks about deadlines. Talks about a deadline, like this is the deadline before that, by that deadline. And since talks about exact starting point, as we have seen in the previous question. Starting point of time. The correct answer should be the report must be submitted by Monday. Why don't we choose since? Because Monday is a future. Monday talks about future, and since doesn't resonate with future. Monday is going to come in the future. It's a deadline, and since talks about past. So, by Monday. The cat is sitting blank the couch, on or over. Use on when you mean to say something already on a surface in a fixed position. Suppose this is the couch and the cat is already sitting on it. When you see the cat, when you perceive the action, okay? Use over when there's motion. The cat jumps from point A to point B. The cat jumps over the couch without touching the surface area of the couch. No contact with the couch. In some cases, there might be some contact, but here there's no such case. So, the cat is sitting on the couch is the correct answer because sitting is a fixed position. Over talks about movement, but here we don't have a movement. We are discussing about the fixed position, so on is the correct preposition for that. And over for motion. The next one. She worked here blank 2015 to 2020. Since or from. We know about since already. Since discusses the starting point of any given time. This is the duration of time and since the starting point. From requires a start point as well as an end point. This is the starting point and this is the end point 2015 to 2020. And in between is the time duration. So the correct answer should be she worked here from 2015 to 2020. The cat jumped blank the table on or over. On talks about, you already know that, a fixed position or resting position. Suppose this is the table and the cat is already sitting on it. Over. Over talks about motion. And in most of the cases, there's no contact with the surface area. On, contact, over, no contact. Suppose this is the cat and it jumps from one point to another point without touching the surface area of the table. So the cat jumped over the table. It almost covers the surface area of the table without touching it. Now, the cat jumped is a motion. So remember this. Over talks about motion and on for resting position. The painting hangs blank the fireplace. Over or above. Use over when you mean the movement across something or as if the movement of something almost covers the surface area of something else. Use over for that. If I were to give the example, it would be same as the previous question. The cat jumps from one point to the other, almost covering the surface area of the table. And use above when we mean to say something in a fixed position higher than something else. We talk about fixed position in above. Let me give you a picture for that. This is a painting as given in the sentence, and this is the fireplace, and this is the wall. The painting hangs above the fireplace without touching its area. As you can see that there's space between these two nouns, no contact between them. So, in the given sentence, the painting hangs above the fireplace should be the correct answer. The correct option is above. The painting hangs above the fireplace because over talks about movement and above talks about fixed position. No contact in both of the cases. Sometimes over might come with the idea of contact in some cases. Now, the next question. The helicopter is flying blank the city, over or above? As we know already that over talks about motion, covers the surface area, and above talks about fixed position higher than something else. I'd repeat again, fixed position higher than something else. Look at this diagram. Suppose this is the city and this is a helicopter, chopper, whatever, and it's moving from one point to the other, almost covers the surface area of the city without any contact. So, over describes motion. The helicopter is flying over the city. Now, the boy threw the ball blank the well. In or into? Um, in talks about a position that is already inside of something, and into talks about a motion or a movement from outside to inside of something. So, what does the sentence say? It says that the boy throws a ball inside of something, inside the well. Throwing is a motion, it's a movement, and it goes inside the well. So, the boy threw the ball into the well, inside of something. Remember the difference? Now let's move to the next one. The dog jumped blank the bed into or onto. Into is movement from outside to inside of something, and onto means movement towards the surface area of something, towards the surface. Bed is a flat surface. It's different from the well. It has got a flat surface. Well has volume. Something goes inside the well, but something lands on the surface. So the dog jumped. Jump is motion and it jumps onto the surface area of the bed, flat surface. So for flat surface, onto. The dog jumped onto the bed. Now let's move to the next question. Harry placed the books blank the shelf. On or onto? Here we have on. On means resting position. In a resting position. And onto, as you already know, we have discussed in the previous question, movement towards a surface. Any motion towards a surface, flat surface. Here we have placed. Harry placed the books. No motion. We are discussing a position that is fixed, no motion. So to talk about a position that is fixed, resting position, we take on. Harry placed the books on the shelf. However, if I were to give an example about onto, I would say that suppose Harry throws the ball, like he threw the ball and the ball lands on a table. Now keep in mind that lands or placed shows resting position and throw shows motion. So resting position takes on and motion takes onto. Now let's move to the next question. Here we have two questions that look the same. Why? Because a lot of you guys get confused about whether it should be at or in. So let's break this question and end the confusion. She is blank the house. Use the preposition at when you mean to say or when you are giving information about a specific location. Specified location means to say that suppose someone asks your location and you would say that I'm at this and that place. Now look at this diagram very carefully. This is your house and this is the perimeter of the house. You could be anywhere inside this perimeter, inside the building, at the garden, at the garage. So when you give the general idea about being in that perimeter, you'd say at. But when you mean to say that I am or she is inside an enclosed area, inside the walls, inside the room, inside a building, then the preposition in should be used. At for a general idea about being present in that area, and in for enclosed walls or rooms, being inside of something. Here I'm giving the idea of a general location, so she is at the house. She is blank the house. Now here I mean to say that I'm inside the building, inside the room, so she is in the house. Now I would give you one more example to understand this clearly in a better way. For example, I work at a hospital. Here I say I work at a hospital. This sentence means that the management in the hospital has hired you to work in the hospital. Here, hospital means a place where patients are treated. It means more than a building where patients are treated. But we would say, I work in a hospital. Here, it means that I work inside a building, inside an enclosed area. So, how do we use the preposition? We use the preposition on the motive of information, on our motive of information. The kind of information we want to portray, the actions we want to portray. The action in the first sentence shows that I could work in that particular area of the hospital, anywhere in that area, outside or inside, but in the hospital would mean inside the building. So, this is the difference. I hope you would remember this. Now, let's move to the next. He walked blank the room and sat down. In or into. We would use the preposition in for a fixed position, a fixed position that is already inside something. And into, as you already know, motion towards inside of something. Motion towards inside. So, in for fixed, already inside. Sat is a fixed position. However, this is not the first action. The first action is he walked. We are discussing about he walked, a motion. So, he walked into the room and sat down. Let's see another example. Of course, I would give you another example. Here we have the sentence, he is sitting blank the room. Sitting is an action that is in fixed position, already in a fixed position. So he is sitting in the room, already inside in a fixed position. Remember, in fixed, already inside, into motion towards inside something. And with this, the lesson is over. I hope you guys would have found the lesson helpful. Remember the rules, and congratulations to all those people who have reached the end of this video. Great learners. You guys are great learners. And especially remember the difference between at the house and in the house. Moreover, I'd say that if you find any issue, please comment down in this video as well as the other videos or reels. Do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Till then, keep learning. Bye bye.